Hi, thank you so much for getting ready with me today. Let me start off with what I have on my face. So I did my skincare and then I put on the Surratt Perfectioniste Primer and the Biologique Recherche de Serum de Tint in shade N1. And I applied both of those with my hands. And then I also used the concealer from Pat McGrath in shade L1. And I will have a full video review out on this next week. I want to go and just see if I can check the other colors out in person. It's a little light. I think it looks good here, but blending it out with the rest of my skin tone is a little tricky because it is pretty full coverage. So I'm hoping to find something that matches maybe slightly better. And I'm just having a hard time doing that online. So hopefully my store will have stuff and I can compare. All right, so that's all I've done. I haven't put any powder or anything on. And I figured we would go ahead and use the Pat McGrath. This is the under eye blurring powder. And I'm going to use this to set under my eyes and my whole face. And what I have found with this is it's really key to use a light hand so far. So I'm going to use the Sonia G Face one. I'm just getting a tiny bit. I'm going to start under my eyes and I'm just kind of tapping this on first. And I'm actually just using the product that kind of accumulated in the lid. All right. And I'm just going to spread out what's on the brush. So very light setting powder. And actually with this Perfectioniste primer from Surratt, it makes your skin so like, it already feels like it has setting powder on it. So I really don't use a lot. So the serum itself, you know, if you give it like a minute or so after, a minute or two after applying, there's no like wet, tacky feeling or anything anymore. It dries down, not to like a dry powder finish, but to a finish where, you know, it doesn't feel like it's really going to budge. So just a little bit of setting powder. And then I think we're going to go ahead and I'm essentially recreating the look that I had in the Hermes Lipstick video. So this is the new Viseart Blush palette in Rose Coral. So this is their palette number 2. And we're going to go ahead and I'm going to use, let's see here. I'm going to take out the Surratt cheek brush and I am going to use this bright pink at the top and a little bit of this red. So I'm just gonna, this is very soft look. I barely touched it and I got way too much powder. So I'm gonna dab this on my microfiber cloth. So I got off some of it and now I'm just gonna dab a little bit into the red. One dab on the cloth and I'm gonna kind of pat this on first. Okay, and I'm using more of the side to blend it because this is really really pigmented. So my face gets you know, really red just from like touching and stuff. So to get like the true color of the blush, you know, sometimes I just have to let it sit for a minute. So I did that yesterday and you know, then it was ended up being brighter than I thought. So I took a little bit of this top orangey shade and added just a little bit of that on top. So we're gonna do that now. So I just got a tiny bit on the brush and I'm just gonna sweep this on. This Surratt brush, when you use this swirling motion on your cheek, it just feels so incredibly nice. I really love these brushes so far. All right, so that's it for blush for now. And I think we'll do like powder and stuff later. Let's go ahead and start on eyes. So I'm going to use, this is one of the Giorgio Armani eye tints. This is shade number 8. I think it's called Flannel. And I'm just gonna put a little bit of this down on my eyelids first, kind of as a base or primer. So this shade, it's pretty much my lid shade, but it's got a little bit of pearlescent pink in it. And I like this, but you know, I did purchase it online. And the color, I thought it was gonna be a little bit more taupey and show up a little bit better on me. So I really use it more like as a primer or base, just because it really matches. Like, I don't know, you can't really even see too much of it. You can see a little bit of the pink pearlescence, but that's about it. So give me a second. I'm gonna move the mirror in closer or not the mirror, sorry. I'm gonna move the camera in closer. I'll be right back. Okay, so we're gonna be using the Tom Ford quad. This is number 5, Double Indemnity. And it's actually a new to me quad. Yesterday was actually the first time I had used it. I purchased it a long time ago and honestly just kind of forgot about it. But here are the colors here. I'll do some swatches and comparisons afterwards, but let's start with the eye look. So I'm gonna go ahead and use the Sonia G. This is the Crease Pro. I'm just looking for anything that's kind of like a blending brush. So I'm gonna go into this green shade, and I'm putting the shadow on the tip of my brush, and I'm going to start in the crease. And I think we'll just make that a little bit darker. And then I'm just kind of blending it kind of outward a little bit, like out all here. Not all the way up to the brow, to the eyebrow, but up to kind of like the top of my brow bone. Okay, I'm actually going to go back into that shade and kind of put it on the center of the eyelid as well, the center of the mobile lid. And just a light coat. We're actually going to go back in with this later. All right, I'm going to wipe the excess off of the brush and go into the white shade with the same brush. I'm just getting on the tip. I'm going to do this inner corner. So I'm actually, this is kind of like maybe the inner fourth, as well as stretching a little bit underneath. Blending any excess into the crease. All right, and now we're gonna go in, same brush, into the brown shade, and we're gonna put that on the outer portion, and I'm kind of dabbing this on and not doing a super neat job of it or anything either. So I'm going to dab it on both sides, and then when my brush is kind of clean, blend it a little bit. Okay, so wiping excess off and then just kind of blending in that area a little. All right, same brush, wiped it off on my towel, going back into the green, putting a little bit on the center of the eyelid. All right, and now I'm gonna go in and I'm basically gonna put all 3 colors on again, but this time with my fingertips. So I'm gonna use my pinky for the white shade. So here's the white shade, and I'm just gonna dab that in a corner. And this is just really making things a lot brighter. I'm using my ring finger for the green. And I'm tapping over the edges of the white as well, so it kind of blends a little bit. All right, and then I'm going to go in with my index finger in the brown and just kind of tap that here on the outer corner. And I'm trying to keep the tapped portion, which is a little bit darker, on the mobile lid because I've got enough of the brown shade kind of blending out a little bit. So I'm trying to keep it specifically on the lid. All right, so just wiping my fingers off, and I'm gonna go in with here's the brush, going back in, just kind of blending this crease. And then for underneath the eye, I'm going to use the Sonia G Smudger one, and I'm going into the brown shade, just getting some on the tip. That's a little much. And I'm just gonna go ahead and line under the eyes with this. Apologize, my eyes are starting to water. It's allergy season, so they're even more sensitive than usual right now. So I'm wiping the excess off of this brush, and I'm going in with the green just on the tip, and I'm gonna go a little bit over and under the brown. So not quite as close to the lash line, but still overlapping the brown. All right, just making sure that this kind of angles up a bit at the corner. And then that's it for the eyeshadow, but for the upper lash line, I'm gonna go ahead and use the Chanel liquid liner in Mauve Metal, which is 518. All right, so here's this. So I'm keeping it really close to the lash line, and I'm not doing like a full wing, but I am going up just a little bit in the corner here. Just a little touch. And I'm trying to just basically get a very thin line all the way to the corner, so it really looks like it's kind of starting and following that lash line completely. All right, so a little messed up there, but oh well. This is so much harder to do on camera, especially with the camera this close, because I'm afraid I'm gonna hit it, but all right, let's see. All right, so that will have to do for today. But there is the eye look with Double Indemnity. I'm going to move the camera back out, and we'll just finish up the rest of my face. So thanks. Okay, so before I forget, I'm going to go ahead and do my brows. I'm going to go really light today on brows. I'm not going to use a brow gel. I'm going to use the Surratt Expressioniste brow pencil, and this is the shade Blonde. If you're not familiar with these pencils, they are refillable. So I forget how much the actual pencil casing costs. I think the whole thing, if you buy it all together, is $40. And I think the refills are $18. I haven't seen the case sold separately in a while, but when I purchased it, I actually purchased both pieces separately and put them together. So it's just a little, you can see here where it screws off. Oh, sorry, that's the wrong part. It's right here. So it's just this little cartridge that you can change out. So this pencil though, you know, I like it. I've never found like a brow pencil or product that I'm absolutely in love with. So I like to just use the pencil part, and then the other side, it does have a brush, and I use this brush after putting in like the Tom Ford Fiber Brow Gel, so there's a little bit of residue on here from that, and just kind of brush out my brows with this. Okay, so that's it for that. For mascara and stuff, I'm gonna go ahead and curl my lashes. This is the Surratt Releve eyelash curler. And I go along my lashes in 3 spots. So I start closest to the lashes and do a double pump, and then middle end, and works well for me. All right, mascara. I'm going ahead and using a sample of the Lancome Monsieur Big mascara, and I've used this one before. I think this one's good if you're looking for a lot of volume. So with this one though, it is very volumizing on me. So I always try to use it on my upper lashes on both eyes before moving to my lower lashes. So I take off as much residue as possible. And of course I always use my Tweezerman eyelash comb. This thing I've had, I was either in high school or just starting college when I bought this. So it's been a really, really, really long time. And I know when I bought it, it was like when Tweezerman was like super, super popular. And they started coming out with like a whole bunch of other products. And I bought it at Nordstrom. And they had it right next to the Guerlain display. And I'd always, always wanted the Guerlain Meteorites. And I just thought they were something I would never get. And now I finally have them. But it was just like one of those items that I always coveted when I was younger and thought they were so insanely expensive that I could never afford them. So, all right, so that's it for the lashes. Cheeks, I think, are pretty good with that. I'm gonna go ahead and use the Guerlain Meteorites. I'm gonna use the light ones, and I'm gonna use the Surratt face brush. So I'm just gonna swirl, get a little bit on here, and see both cheeks. So you can see that it has like a little bit of a blurring effect. And it just kind of makes my skin look a little bit more finished, airbrushed. So I really like the Meteorites. All right, now for highlight today, I'm going to go ahead and use the Chanel Eclat du Désert. And I'm going to use the Surratt cheek brush that I use for blush. And I'm kind of actually just going over the blush. This is super powdery, so it's really easy to get a lot up. And I think this shade for me, I can wear it as blush, but it also gives just like this really nice like glisten. You can see it. I really love this highlighter. I think on bare skins, it's really pretty. All right, let's see. I think I have a little bit more on the other side. All right, so for lips today, I think let's go ahead and use, I'm gonna use this is the Done Undone lip liner from Pat McGrath, and I'm gonna just put a little bit of this on and then use one of the new Hermes lipsticks. All right, so that's like a really nice neutral lip liner for me. I really like that one. I'm going to go ahead and use the Hermes in Beige Kalahari. So it has a little bit of gold sparkle in here. So I found when wearing this, it does leave a little bit of a stain on your lips for a while after the color wears off. It's like a thinner formula. It's really creamy feeling going on, really smooth. And I really like the texture of it, but it does not last on me very long. So, you know, that creaminess of it, since it is thinner, I guess it just doesn't really stick around too long. And then I do still have a little bit of pigment left from the lipstick, but it is not, on me at least, a long wearing lipstick. So, all right, let's see here. All right, so this is my finished look for the day, and I hope this was helpful. So I'm gonna go ahead and do some comparison swatches right now. So if you are done watching, thanks so much for making it through this far, and I hope to see you next time. And otherwise, stay tuned, and I'll have just a few comparison swatches with some eyeshadows. Thanks. Okay, so by request, I'm going to swatch a few of the eyeshadows that I got recently. So this is number 358 from Chanel, Au Fil de l'Eau. And we're going to start off here with the white shade. And pardon the cut on my hand. All right, so we've got the white. Here is the peach. And the peach really blends really well with my skin tone. We've got a blue silver shade and a deeper version of that has a little bit more charcoal in it, but these both lean blue. So particularly this lighter one, there's definitely blue in there. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and swatch Double Indemnity. All right, and I'm going to swatch these. We're going to go right here at the bottom so you can kind of compare. So we get the white and the green. Here's the brown and the black. So you can see it is a very neutral palette with some green, which I love. This is actually, in my opinion, I think it might be, it's definitely one in my top 5, but it might be even my favorite Tom Ford palette. This is only the second time I used it, but this color story is, I personally really like it. So formula wise, I feel like these Tom Ford shadows, this is the wet dry formula, and I like these a little bit better than the new ones that came out. I do really like the Tom Ford ones that came out for the holiday, and those are back in stock at a lot of retailers if you're interested in any of those. But those are going to have like a lighter, more diffused look. That's just part of the whole idea behind it, whereas these are a bit more pigmented. And I think this formula is fantastic. They are all shimmers, and the Chanel, they are all shimmers. The peach one, it's a little bit satiny, but not quite matte and not quite shimmer. So it's more of a satin shade here, but they are all shimmery shadows. These Chanel ones are going to be a little bit more of a diffuse color. The silver shades, you know, you can really build those up and get a lot of pigment out of those, but obviously these other two are really light. So you're going to get a more, just a lighter look in general. All right, and then the only other one that really has some grays is this Chantecaille Warm one, but these are going to be very, very different because you've got the browns and the golds. The only color that is similar here is going to be the slate shade. And I'll put that right here. So you can see that that is going to be a much more gray, like a gunmetal gray shade than either of these. And there's maybe like a little hint of a blue in there if you kind of look, but they're not nowhere near as blue as the Chanel ones. So any other questions or comments about the shadows or requests, please let me know. I hope this was helpful. And thank you so much for tuning in. And I hope to see you guys in my next video. If you like the video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. And thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.